Klippenstein. And Ken Klippenstein wants you to know that he's not anti-Semitic. Ken Klippenstein says, I got a lot of his text messages. He wants to, this is actually a quote from Elias Rodriguez, the murderer. You probably would have to actually genocide white people to make this a normal country. That's right. He hates Israel, but yet he's not anti-Semitic. Now, this is the little twist that the left is playing now, is that if you hate Israel, you can be anti-Zionist without actually being anti-Semitic. That's the twisted word game the left is playing now. They want you to think that this guy, he's not actually anti-Semitic, he just hates Israelis. He's not anti-Semitic, he just hunted down 2 Israeli embassy workers at a Jewish museum and murdered them in cold blood on the street. But he's not anti-Semitic, he just hates Israelis. Not all Jews, just these Jews. Never mind that he chanted about free Palestine while he was gutting them down. That has to do with Israel. Right, you see the word games these people play. This gets back, of all things, to master bedroom versus primary bedroom. I mentioned in the short segment. The National Association of Realtors doesn't mandate it, but they strongly encourage realtors to use primary bedroom instead of master bedroom because George Floyd died. Just so you understand, because George Floyd died, we must reinvent the entirety of the English language so that white progressives in charge of the National Association of Realtors feel good about themselves. In the same way that white progressive parents impose their emotional trauma on their children and turn them into little terrorists so that they can sleep well at night knowing their children are out there killing the capitalists, blowing up the gas pipelines, and murdering Israelis outside Jewish museums. They've traumatized their kids, and the rest of us have to dodge the bullets. This doesn't end well for a lot of them, but you know what? There is some hope. There actually is some hope. You know, one of the most counterculture things that Gen Z is doing, I'm not making this up, and in fact, I didn't even get to it yesterday. Let me find the story. I know where it is. Hang on a second. I'm thinking of this mid-model. Folks, this show is organic. It's unscripted. I don't read from a teleprompter. Yes, this is it from John Hirschauer at City Journal. You know how Gen Z is rebelling against the neuroses of their liberal parents? If they're not indoctrinated, if they're not embracing their parents' neuroses and turning psychologically harmful and malcontented. Are you ready for this? According to the Pew Research Center's latest religious landscape study, 63% of Americans now identify as Christian, a slight increase from the 2022 low of 60%, and part of a 5-year trend of relative stability following in nearly 2 decades of decline. The study analyzed respondents by birth decade and found that every 20th century cohort showed a drop in Christian identification compared with the previous one. For example, 80% of the group born in the 1940s and earlier identify as Christian, compared with just 46% of those born in the 90s. But among those born in the 2000s, the Gen Zers, the rate held steady at the 1990s level, suggesting that generational decline might have plateaued. More broadly, the Pew study found that Christianity is increasingly a marker of conservative political ideology across all age groups. Since 2007, the share of conservatives identifying as Christian had declined only modestly by 7%. Among liberals, however, Christian identification had dropped 25 points from 62% to 37%. Today, conservatives are 45 percentage points more likely to identify as Christians than liberals. And Gen Z is headed into the churches. The Gen Zers who have not bought into their parents' neuroses or they're rebelling against their parents' neuroses, they're headed into churches. That's right. It's it's interesting. It is just an oddity of the way the world works, how generations shift back and forth. But the most interesting is that the kids who are moving away from their parents on the left, they're not just moving right in political worldview, they're actually moving towards theological orthodoxy. So you got really liberal parents, and the kids studies are showing taking two paths. They're either embracing their parents' progressivism and becoming even more radical, or they're rejecting it and radically rejecting it so they become Orthodox Christians. There's very little with Gen Z, for reasons no one seems to be able to understand yet. There seems to be just this very narrow path of kids who aren't wildly swinging one way or the other. The dangerous part here, though, is that the kids who are embracing their parents' political identity on the left among Gen Z are turning to violence. They're turning to their eco-warriors now. They're embracing the books about blowing up the gas pipelines and sabotaging the railroads. It's not to say they all will. Some just get worked up into existential frenzy and anxiety. I mean, look at Jennifer Garner's daughter. She doesn't appear to be violent. She doesn't appear to be out there actively doing things like Maggie Gyllenhaal's daughter is. But she's furious about climate and lives in a state of anxiety about the world coming to an end. I just, so, yeah, I can tell you guys this. So I found a very large snake skin in the yard the other day. In fact, I didn't get rid of it. I wanted to show it to Philip, and then I forgot because he was coming over the other day. I had this long, very large snake skin in the yard. And I showed my wife, and she's like, do not tell your daughter, our oldest. I was like, why not? She's like, it will scare her to death. And she will get anxiety about snakes in the yard. Do not show your kid. So I haven't. Didn't want her to get anxiety about a snake being in the yard. Didn't want her to get worked up about a snake being in the yard. So I hadn't said anything to her. And then I think about these left-wing activists who they're really telling their kids the world is going to end. And so then their kids see the parents not really doing anything about it. So what do the kids do? The kids decide they've got to do stuff. Now you got Maggie Gyllenhaal's daughter protesting on college campuses in the name of Gaza, clearly whipped into a frenzy about the possibility of supposed genocide in Gaza, which isn't even happening. You got this Elias Rodriguez kid gunning down two Jews, and then you've got the left-wing echo chamber brothers saying he wasn't really anti-Semitic, he just hated Israelis. These people are psychologically disturbed. Progressivism is a mental illness is basically the key takeaway to what's happening in society right now. Progressivism is a mental illness. Now, let's clear the air. Go get yourself an Eden Pure Thunderstorm. The BOGO is happening right now this week. EdenPureDeals.com is the website. You put in the discount code EricBOGO. You buy one, you get one free. You buy 5, you get 5 free. That's the way it works. It's the BOGO. The Eden Pure Thunderstorm is an air purifier. It gets rid of pollen. It gets rid of mold. It gets rid of pet dander. It gets rid of smoke floating through the air. It kills 99.9% of bacteria and viruses, and it wipes out odors. It wipes out all odors. The Eden Pure Thunderstorm works. EdenPureDeals.com is the website. Eric Bogo, ERICKBOGO, is the discount code to get one. Buy one, get one free. Buy 2, get 2 free. Buy 3, get 3 free. That's what the BOGO does. You can hold it in your hand. You can plug it up with a USB cord in your car. You can plug it directly into the wall, and it just wipes out odors. So you can get one for your downstairs, one for your upstairs, one for your attic, one for your RV, one for your travel bag. Get 2, one for the kitchen, one for the living room. You got a smelly dog? Well, you probably want one to wipe out the odor, and they just work. EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code Eric Bogo, ERICKBOGO.
Honest.
Putting your trust in me to tell you what's going on.
Transparent.
I need you to know this from the bottom of my heart.
Giving you the information without the noise.
My job isn't to tell you what you want to hear, it's to tell you the truth.
It's the Erick Erickson Show.
1250 Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Crash still in the right lane in Kennesaw, 75 North Wade Green Road, exit 273. On and off the brakes as you make your way up through Marietta. Seeing brake lights 285 eastbound, the outer loop into Cab County, leaving Boulder Crest Road all the way up to I-20, trying to make that transition in the work zone to 20 eastbound. Traffic brought to you by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage for a limited time. Go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off, and for UPS shipping, add code radio and get an extra 5% off. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Listening to 95.5 WSB pays.
No way!
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
That is awesome.
5 chances a day to win $5,000.
Download the WSB app. Your next chance to win is coming up at 2 p.m.
Oh my God.
From 95.5 WSB.
Going back to college, I have sent my father Omaha Steaks for Father's Day because who doesn't love steak? Dads love steak. A recent survey showed 75% of Americans agree there's no better way than to spend Father's Day than grilling with the family. Dads love to grill. I remember some great memories as a kid of my dad grilling. Now I do. And I get him Omaha Steaks, and you can too. Shop omahasteaks.com and give your dad the legendary Heartland quality he deserves. Plus, my listeners get an extra $35 off when you put Eric in, E-R-I-C-K, as your promo code at checkout. Unbelievable quality from Omaha Steaks. I am a longtime gift giver of Omaha Steaks. My dad loves Omaha Steaks. Your dad will too. Go to omahasteaks.com, load up your cart with deliciousness, get $35 off, minimum order required, when you use promo code ERIC at checkout. That's omahasteaks.com. You'll get an extra $35 off with promo code ERIC at checkout. Your dad will love you for it.
I'm here with Chris Hoffman, the founder of Hoffman Financial Group, to discuss one of the biggest blind spots that people face when saving for retirement, and it's a head scratcher. Chris, how do so many people not know what they're invested in?
That's the biggest flaw that everybody runs into. They think they know what equities they have, they think they know what bonds they have, but they really don't know how those mutual funds or how those index funds are performing in conjunction with one another. So, I would liken this to a big pot of soup, and we're just throwing all the ingredients in the refrigerator in this thing. It's not very good. It's just a mishmash of stuff. And sometimes you like the way it tastes. Sometimes you don't. And when you don't know why. You don't know if you got too much chicken in there or too much vegetables in there or what's going on. And I ask every caller that comes in for an initial consultation, do you know how your portfolio is broken down? And they say, well, I've got, 20 or so options in my 401k, and I just picked 2 of them or 3 of them. I thought I needed some international. I thought I needed some U.S. equities. I thought I needed some bonds. And they're just guessing. So you have to absolutely know what you're invested in, and that's where we will run the 401k portfolio x-ray for you, because that'll break it down. If you're not proficient at investing and don't understand this world, we will walk you through it. Not knowing what you're invested in is a big hindrance to growing and protecting your money. We will run a portfolio x-ray for you and educate you on exactly what's in your portfolio.
Set up a time to get your complimentary portfolio x-ray today. Call the Hoffman Financial Group at 404-737-3858. That's 404-737-3858, or book online at unleashyourmoney.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group Incorporated, Georgia Insurance License number 163546.
WSB Atlanta, WSBB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's news and talk.
Your non-stop news source. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's news and talk. Giving you the truth, not the talking points. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
All right. Before I go anywhere else, I want to go to the phones. I want to go to Carl calling from Orlando, Florida here. Carl, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hello, Mr. Eric. How are you?
Great. What's going on?
Well, I was just you were talking about I'm a certified real estate appraiser, 45 years in Central Florida market. And you kind of hit a nerve with the NAR and this bedroom, bathroom, primary, master.
It hits a nerve with me. It drives me crazy.
I got reported to the Department of Professional Regulation in Florida by a lender on 3 reports of mine that I used that language. And one of them was in a small town in a Celebration. It's a Disney development. And there happens to be a hotel there, the Bohemian Hotel.
Uh-huh.
And what I try to do is try to explain, or what I used to try to do was try to explain to the lender what adds value to this neighborhood and what kind of neighborhood it is, or where the schools are, and all that other stuff. But anyway, I still got reported on 3 other reports using that language.
They're just bullies.
Well, and the DPR called me and said, here are these complaints, and how do you respond? And I did. And, of course, you lose sleep waiting for them to decide what they're going to do. And luckily for me, all of them were dismissed. All the complaints were dismissed. But it's just it's frustrating.
Yeah. It is. Trying to control language, and it just is so, yeah, look, Carl, I'm glad you shared so people think it's not just me, and it really, they say they're not mandated. By the way, another realtor, I just got an email from another realtor who said that they are discouraged from using things like, quote-unquote, beautiful view now in MLS listings because the blind can't see the beautiful view. And they are also, she says, discouraged from using things like walking distance to places because the disabled might be offended. That's what is happening when the wokes take over and language police all of us. It's absolute frustrating nonsense. This hour of the program is brought to you by First Liberty Building and Loan. If you're growing your business and need access to capital, reach out to First Liberty, firstlibertyga.com, firstlibertyga.com. They might be able to help you where your current lender might not be able to help you. See if you're a fit for them and they're a fit for you. They're fantastic people, firstlibertyga.com. When we come back, speaking about discrimination, News Nation has uncovered a Biden scandal, and they have a whistleblower. I've got the audio. It turns out in defiance of a court order. Sound familiar? The Biden administration decided to concoct a plan to pay off the loans of non-white farmers and not tell white farmers they were eligible for the program. And News Nation has the goods. I've got the report, the reverse discrimination by the Biden administration.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you're testing your blood sugar 4 or more times per day, injecting insulin 3 or more times per day, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetic Health Hotline today and learn about the latest CGM technology. A CGM can immediately reduce pain. It's accurate, easy to use, and helps you make better diabetes treatment decisions. And if you have Medicare, you can get a new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. Plus, get free shipping, and we'll bill your insurance company for you. Call now to receive your new continuous glucose monitor at little or no out-of-pocket cost.
Paid for by U.S. Medical Supply.
Call 800-611-6638. That's 800-611-6638. Again, 800-611-6638. That's 800-611-6638.
News, weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 1 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news sponsored by Window Nation. President Trump just now taking questions in the Oval Office. He admitted that he warned Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu not to interfere in the Iran talks.
Yeah, I told him this would be inappropriate to do right now because we're very close to a solution. Now, that could change at any moment, could change with a phone call. But right now, I think they want to make a deal, and if we can make a deal, save a lot of lives.
The president says he thinks a deal could be reached over the next couple of weeks. Mostly cloudy today. A few showers are possible, but mainly dry, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. Your afternoon high around 82. She'll have Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast straight ahead. Atlanta Watershed Management has lifted a days-long boil water advisory for portions of Buckhead. The department saying that those in the areas of Nancy Creek Road and Northside Parkway no longer need to boil their water after an outage was fixed yesterday. Sampling confirming that there was no contamination within the water system. The Georgia EPD has also been notified. The Georgia Department of Driver Services putting out an alert today. A text message scam is circulating in the state and across the country.
Even Susan Sports, spokeswoman for the Georgia Department of Driver Services, is targeted by the fraudulent texts.
No one is immune to the scam. In fact, I received it when I was distributing this press release to try to warn all of our customers.
The text claims to be from the Georgia Department of Motor Vehicles, which doesn't exist. It includes a link for credit card information to pay unpaid tickets to avoid a suspension of your driver's license. If you get one of these messages, delete it. Cheryl Castro, 95.5 WSB.
Well, Georgia Tech has a bold new plan for one of Midtown Atlanta's most iconic buildings.
For decades, the Biltmore was the South's preeminent luxury hotel, hosting galas and debutante balls and notable guests like Betty Davis and Dwight Eisenhower. Its next chapter will be as a hub of entrepreneurship and innovation. Now owned by the Georgia Tech Foundation, it will become a centerpiece of Tech Square, the school's 2.5 million square foot innovation district. The Biltmore will include Tech's flagship Startup Accelerator, which has launched over 600 businesses collectively valued at over $2 billion combined. Graham Carroll, 95.5 WSB.
A new study today says 3/4 of all moms here in the U.S. are struggling with some degree of mental health issues. The study published by Columbia University looked at nearly 200,000 mothers over a 7-year period and found only 25% reported excellent mental health. That's down from 38% back in 2016. Now, the study also showed declines in physical health among U.S. mothers, especially among those who were single, younger, less educated, and whose children were multiracial or uninsured. Let's take a look at the markets. The Dow is down 99 at 42,244. NASDAQ also down slightly. So is the S&P. It's 102.
Some things really love the rain, like flowers, your lawn, frogs. Other things like your roof, not so much. And if your roof is old, it's taken a lot of abuse from the elements over the years. Home Fix It Show host Dave Baker here from my roofing experts at Findlay Roofing, the roof guys. Water is your home's #1 enemy, and your roof is your front line of defense to stop it from getting inside. Heavy rain and severe storms like we've had recently can expose roof leaks and lead to water damage. So, how's your roof holding up? If you're not sure, I recommend you schedule a Findlay Roofing free roof analysis. It's easy. Go to roofroof.com, set up your appointment, and a highly trained professional will thoroughly examine your roof. No obligation, no charge. And if you need a new roof, remember Findlay has seen it all and replaced it all. They have replaced over 65,000 roofs in the metro area. That's why when it comes to your roof, you need to think of Findlay first. Schedule your free roof analysis at findlayroofing.com.
Roof. At Shane Company, we've been engagement ring experts for almost 100 years. We have the largest selection of diamonds and gemstones in stock. You don't have to wait to compare them side by side. Find the one that speaks to you at shaneco.com or in store. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
This is Scott Slade. Nothing takes the place of time when it comes to spotting problems with your health, especially cancer. The earlier, the better. Like me. My doctor saw one lab work number that led to a diagnosis early enough, so I still had options. Now, that's where virtual imaging comes in. They've got the safest CT imaging option in the Southeast with 98% accuracy. Virtual Imaging's LDCT body scan can be invaluable, giving you time and options for early treatment. They can detect tumors as early as precancerous virtually anywhere in your body, and aneurysms you may not even know are there. For a limited time, Virtual Imaging is offering their LDCT body scan for only $995 per scan. That's a $2,495 value. Now, appointments must be scheduled in May. There are a limited number of scans available at this price, so a few minimum requirements may apply. Don't put this off. I've done it. Call 770-678-SCAN. That's 770-678-SCAN. Or make an appointment by visiting their website at virtualimagingatl.com.
Alex Williams in the WSB 24-hour traffic center.
Still watching this crash in Kennesaw. It continues to be in the right lane. They're trying to clear it up. 75 North Wade Green Road, exit 273, on and off the brakes coming up out of Marietta. And now a new left lane stall on the south side perimeter. This is in DeKalb, 285 westbound. The inner loop, Moreland Avenue, exit 53. That is in a left lane. Expect them to block all lanes to get this pushed off to the right when a hero arrives. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
This is WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Mostly cloudy, mainly dry today, though an isolated rain shower can't be ruled out. High 82, lows tonight in the mid-60s. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy with scattered rain showers and thunderstorms, high 79. Widespread heavy rain and storms for Friday, high 78.
All right, so when can we see the sunshine again for an extended amount of time? Well, WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards says Saturday will be sunny. Right now, it's mostly cloudy, 69 degrees in Roswell, 71 in Powder Springs, and Dallas has 72 degrees. Here in Midtown Atlanta, we have mostly cloudy skies, 71. We'll have more news at 1:30, breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
2, 1, 0, all engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Greetings, conversationalists. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. Y'all, we've got to begin with an incredible story this hour uncovered by our friends at News Nation, a news network I hope you will check out because they do their very best to play it straight. They certainly have a couple of people who lean left there. They've got some folks who lean right there, but they're really focused on delivering the news in a very straightforward manner, and I appreciate it. And they have a bombshell that hit yesterday with a whistleblower, with a federal whistleblower. And, you know, this comes on the heels of Donald Trump complaining repeatedly, much to the dismissiveness of most of the mainstream media, over the Biden administration's zealous push for DEI standards. Now, side note, this gets back to the point that I've now, it's come up more than I expected it to come up, but my goodness, it has come up pretty significantly that the National Association of Realtors has been pressuring people into not using the phrase master bedroom or master suite even. And now I've gotten several realtors who have emailed me and said, if you call yourself a realtor instead of a real estate agent, you're with the National Association of Realtors, and they say they're not mandating it, but you will get in trouble if you say primary bedroom, that people can report you. We had a call from Carl down in Orlando, Florida, saying that he's been reported 3 occasions for saying master bedroom instead of primary bedroom. They are trying to punish people for just saying a word. It has nothing to do with slavery, but you need to understand that it was on the heels of George Floyd's death that the National Association of Realtors did this. And they've gotten very, very woke in their language. So, for example, one realtor tells me that she can't say beautiful views in the MLS listing because blind people can't see. And she can't say something is within reasonable walking distance because the disabled might not be able to walk. But primarily it is master bedroom. You can't say master bedroom. And the left's like, why do you care? I care because you people on the left accuse Donald Trump of rampant authoritarianism, and you're using your control of institutions to do the same damn thing you accuse him of. It is authoritarian to punish an American for using the phrase master bedroom. And the National Association of Realtors claims they're not mandating it. They're just encouraging alternate language. But you talk to the actual real estate agents of America, and they say they get in trouble if they use master bedroom. It's stupid. This came during the Biden administration, where the Biden administration decided that it would use race to benefit non-white people, despite the Constitution saying you can't do it. The Constitution of the United States is very clear. You can't discriminate. And in fact, when the affirmative action education cases against Harvard, University of North Carolina, I think it was, and University of Michigan went to the United States Supreme Court, John Roberts, for the majority, wrote very simply, the best way to stop discriminating is to stop discriminating instead of giving preferential treatment to others. The Biden administration, however, decided to engage in rampant race-based discrimination as uncovered by News Nation. I want to play you part of the report from last night on News Nation and what a federal whistleblower has uncovered.
When former President Joe Biden left Washington, D.C., he was leaving behind a DEI secret involving American farmers and $800 million in taxpayer money. And a United States Department of Agriculture whistleblower is now sounding the alarm.
It was to pay off anyone who wasn't a white male loan. That was the only qualification for this loan forgiveness.
And what was the reaction?
So it was really silent. They were trying to keep this hushed because of the obvious implications of race-based loan forgiveness.
Race-based loan forgiveness. It's in black and white, buried in the American Rescue Plan Act. The United States Secretary of Agriculture shall provide a payment in an amount up to 120% of the outstanding indebtedness of each socially disadvantaged farmer or rancher. The act explicitly lays out who's considered socially disadvantaged.
So just to be clear, if you were American Indian, Alaskan Native, Asian Black, African American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander, Hispanic, or Latino, and you were in that group, you were told you didn't have to pay your bills, essentially?
Yes, that's correct, and that your loan would be forgiven up to 120% of the loan value.
To me, it was combating racism with more racism. I couldn't believe that it was happening in today's age.
James Dunlap owns a small family farm in Baker City, Oregon. He works 2 other jobs to keep his farm afloat, but did not qualify for the loan forgiveness because he's white.
I knew what they were saying was that minority farmers were going to have their loans forgiven for no reason other than they decided to, they being the government. So.
And how much money they had nothing to do with it?
As far as I understand, not at all. It wasn't about hardship. It wasn't about financial situations at all. It was purely what box you checked under that ethnicity line on your application.
If you checked a non-white box, you got the free money, no matter how rich you were. James and other white farmers sued the Biden administration and were successful. The loan forgiveness for any farmer who's not white was stopped. The judge writing in his decision, it was an actual constitutional harm that cannot be undone. And James and other white farmers will suffer the harm of being excluded from eligibility for that debt relief program solely on the basis of his race. That harm he has shown is irreparable. But this is where things get interesting. The Biden administration was not ready to give up. They passed the Inflation Reduction Act to help farmers who couldn't pay their loans. It was supposed to help all farmers, but News Nation has learned all farmers were not told about it. News Nation obtaining a copy of this email that was sent out to share information about new payments and/or loan modifications that may assist you. But here's the catch. Our whistleblower says it was only sent to the minority farmers, aka the socially disadvantaged group. And he says USDA workers were even instructed to tell that group to stop paying their loans because they would still be forgiven. The whistleblower says none of the white farmers he works with received the email.
That's News Nation. If you subscribe to the show notes, and you can text the word data to 33777, DATA, text that to the number 33777. Get the show notes. We've got the link to the News Nation story in there. You can see the whole report, the whole news story, and also you get the text of it. And it is from Brian Hinton and Allison Hope Weiner at News Nation. It is insane what this story says. This was intentional, willful discrimination by the Biden administration, willful, intentional discrimination against white farmers. And also notice the language, 120% of outstanding indebtedness. In other words, you're going to make back some money. But only non-white farmers were allowed to apply for the program. And in fact, when a judge struck that down, the Biden administration decided to do it anyway and just not tell the white farmers. Now, we've been lectured a lot by the American Press Corps over the last 100-some-odd days of the Trump administration about the Trump administration defying court orders. A constitutional crisis, we've been told. Is this not a constitutional crisis orchestrated by the Biden administration? Do we just cover this up? I mean, like, the Chrisley pardons, Todd and Julie Chrisley, Listen, that dude needed to stay in prison another decade, let his face settle down from all the Botox and plastic surgery he's had. He shouldn't be getting out of prison. There's no justification for the pardon. They were convicted by a jury of bank fraud and tax evasion. There's no reason to pardon these people. And the media is blasting the pardons. But, Joe Biden did all those pardons at the end of his administration, and they continued to give him a pass for it. Is it any wonder the Trump administration thinks it can get away with stuff and will defiantly get away with stuff because the media let the Biden administration get away with stuff? We are now May 28th, 2025, inside the Trump administration, learning that the Biden administration orchestrated massive racial discrimination in this country through farm policy. Absolutely insane to me. Absolutely insane. But notice it's News Nation covering this. Where's the New York Times story? Where's the Washington Post story? Where's CNN's coverage? Where are these other news outlets? News Nation is a scrappy up-and-coming news network. They do great stuff, by the way. They do fantastic news. But they're alone out there. It's like the New York Post exposing Hunter Biden's laptop, and the rest of the media circle the wagon and say, we're not going to cover the Hunter Biden stuff. It's clearly Russian disinformation. Where's the rest of the media adding into this? And by the way, it was explicit racial discrimination, and at the time, it was a law passed by the Democratic majority in Congress, the American Rescue Plan Act. The Secretary of Agriculture shall, quote, provide payment in an amount up to 120% of the outstanding indebtedness of each socially disadvantaged farmer. The socially disadvantaged farmer was defined as by the act as American Indian, Alaskan Native, Asian, Black, African American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander, Hispanic, or Latino. No, wait just a damn minute here. Black or African American, Hispanic or Latino. Really? This is what we gotta check the boxes on now. You can be African American or Black. It's like the Democrats, the left, coming up with, instead of saying colored people, we do people of color. It sounds just as bad. We're not going to talk about the coloreds. We're going to talk about the people of color. Good gracious. Like the blacks. We're going to talk about the African Americans instead of the blacks. Y'all, come on. And now in this law, we're going to have the blacks and the African Americans. I mean, apparently, if they included whites, we would have to talk about the whites, the Caucasians, and the honkies. Just let's get every demographic label possible in there. We got the whites, we got the Caucasians, we got the crackers, we got the honkies, we got the blacks, we got the African Americans, we got the Latinos, the Latinas, the Hispanics. Yeah, they said Latino in the law, not Latina, as if farmers can't be female, those sexist Democrats. But the crackers, the honkies, the whites, and Caucasians totally excluded from this plan. And the Biden administration chose not to tell them. It's just absurd to me that here we are at this point, that we are engaged as a nation in discrimination at all. But now, look, Donald Trump allows in white farmers from South Africa. And the Democrats and the media are like, you can't do this. This is just reverse racism. Wait a second. Wait. So we can allow in the Haitian voodoo priests, but we can't allow in the white farmers from South Africa. And we can give Black and African American farmers and Hispanic or Latino farmers a bailout. But we can't give white farmers a bailout. Spare me the lectures. Democrats, you people are racist. You believe that we should be racist against Asian students and give preferential treatment to non-white students who aren't Asian. You believe we should bail out farmers so long as they're not white. This is Democratic priority. This is legislation written by the Democrats in Congress, not just progressives. The Democratic Party engaged in this level of racism, and the media helped them cover it up. The National Press Corps refused to report on it. And now you have one network that has a whistleblower that is running the report, and the rest of the media absolutely silent on a massive whole-scale plan not just to discriminate against white people and to disadvantage white farmers, but also to defy a court order. All these bellyachers over Donald Trump possibly defying court orders are willing to give the Biden team a pass for doing it. And I suspect the Trump team wouldn't be so emboldened but for the fact that the Biden team pioneered the practice and the media gave them a pass.
Those who love him, listen to find out what he's going to say next. Those who disagree with him, also listen to see what he's going to say next. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
121 Cool-Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Crash still in the right lane in Kennesaw. 75 northbound Wade Green Road, exit 273, slowing you back into Marietta. Stall cleared, all lanes open. 285 westbound, the inner loop at Moreland Avenue. And some brake lights 20 east into DeKalb County as they're picking up the right lane roadwork past Wesley Chapel. Traffic brought to you by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies, offering national LTE coverage for a limited time. Go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off. And for UPS shipping, add code radio and get an extra 5% off. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Hey, this is Chris Chandler. When you join us Thursday, starting at 5 a.m. for Atlanta's Morning News, breaking stories from overnight, our exclusive 5-day forecast, will the rain finally go away for the weekend? Scotts Lakes, Georgia this week, place nearby that is uniquely qualified to mark next week's D-Day anniversary, and why Clark Howard says criminals might be using security cameras against you. Plus, our 5K a day bonus blitz continues, your chance to win $1,000 on WSB.
It's Eric Erickson here. Every single day now, I deal with a malicious request to click a link. My daughter the other day got a text message some of you have probably gotten. Click on it and pay your toll, and it's just a scam. All these things keep happening. They're preying upon the young, senior citizens, and you and me. But there's good news. Vision Computer is here to help you. If you have their managed service, you're never alone, and in just 15 seconds, expert tech support is at your fingertips, ready to protect you from online threats, scams, and computer problems. And you don't have to take my word for it. We're a Vision Computer household, but they've got thousands of 5-star reviews beyond my household reviews, but I'd give them 5 stars too. They've got thousands and thousands of 5-star reviews because they're simply the best. Call them at 404-COMPUTE today or visit them online at visioncomputers.com, because when it comes to your security, you can't afford to wait. Vision will take care of you. Tell them I sent you. Call them at 404-COMPUTE or go to visioncomputers.com.
Men, trouble in the bedroom? Not anymore. Priority Men's Medical Center restores your love life in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Priority Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Priority Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. You'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients get their testosterone checked free. Call 404-885-8885. 404-885-8885. To restore your love life in just one visit, call now. 404-885-8885.
Hey, if you've been thinking about selling your home, now is the time. With a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate, now you can sell your home fast and for more than you expect. Hey, Sean Hannity here. One of the most stressful things about selling your home is not being able to control the timing. Now, Mark Spain Real Estate, they allow you to receive an all-cash offer and close in as little as 21 days. No showings, no open houses, no waiting around wondering whether your home is going to sell or not. It's that simple. One of their clients, BR, said, quote, Mark Spain Real Estate sold my home within 30 days. We received 4 offers in just 1 week. And thanks to them, the process was by far the easiest and the quickest. With over 12,500 5-star reviews, well, you can trust Mark Spain Real Estate to sell your home fast and for the most money. Now choose when you want to move with the Mark Spain Real Estate guaranteed offer and close with confidence. Just go to markspain.com to find out what your guaranteed offer will be. That's markspain.com, and you can start packing.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you're testing your blood sugar 4 or more times per day, injecting insulin 3 or more times per day, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetic Health Hotline today and learn about the latest CGM technology. A CGM can immediately reduce pain. It's accurate, easy to use, and helps you make better diabetes treatment decisions. And if you have Medicare, you can get a new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. Plus, get free shipping, and we'll bill your insurance company for you. Call now to receive your new continuous glucose monitor at little or no out-of-pocket cost.
Paid for by U.S. Medical Supply.
Call 800-611-6638. That's 800-611-6638. Again, 800-611-6638. That's 800-611-6638.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk. Join Eric's Army of Activists. Text ARMY to 33777 now.
I got a question for you realtors. If you can't say master bedroom anymore, what about plantation shutters? My buddy Chris texts me and says, we're not discouraged. You absolutely 100% cannot use walk-in closet or steps from the belt line, for example, because the disabled community would report you and your listing. You'll get in trouble. That's just nuts. All right, to the phones, 877-973-7425. Pamela, Nashville, Tennessee, welcome to the show.
Hi, Eric. Hope you're having a great day.
I am. Hope you are.
Yes, I am. Thank you. I wanted to mention, well, if you can't say master bedroom, could you say bastard bedroom? Just a quick play on words there.
Yeah, I don't know.
Might make him really angry. So I guess you could one up them and say bastard bedroom, or I guess primary bedroom would work as well. But wanted to ask
that's
your
what
opinion.
they want.
Yes, wanted to ask your opinion. What is your thoughts on Trump's pardoning of the Chrysleys, whom took a $30 million loan? I don't know all the discrepancies about that particular loan, but in fact, I was reading many posters on Daily Mail, et cetera, were very upset about it. What's your personal opinion?
Yeah, look, I don't think there was a reason to pardon them. That they've been unremorseful. In fact, they've insisted they did nothing wrong. A jury found them guilty of bank fraud and tax evasion. And if they weren't reality TV stars prosecuted by the Biden administration, and I suspect they would have not been given a pardon, but they were pro-Trump reality TV stars, and so they were. And I find the process discrediting from what Joe Biden did with his family and the like, and now what Trump has done. And then you've got the guy with the yacht who defrauded people by millions, but his mother was a Trump donor. And part of his pardon package was how much money his mom raised for Donald Trump. I find it gross. I don't think these people should be getting pardons. They particularly no remorse whatsoever. That's not good for the integrity of the system. Now, I got to tell you about Hillsdale College. Eric for Hillsdale is the website you go to, ERICK, ericforhillsdale.com. And you can take one of 40 courses from Hillsdale College. They've got a great course on the Exodus story that you can take. They've got one on Genesis. They've got a great one on capitalism, one on the early republic, history, math, science, economics, philosophy, religion, literature, political science. They've got classes. Surely there's a topic you are interested in. Surely there's a topic you're interested in. And you want to improve your mind with education, not indoctrination. That's where Hillsdale College comes in. Free of charge, at no charge to you, you can sign up and take one of their great classes. And you get a certificate of completion from Hillsdale College when you've done it. It is some of the very best faculty. Their video lectures. You do it at your own pace. And there's never a charge. You go to Eric, E-R-I-C-K, ericforhillsdale.com, E-R-I-C-K, ericforhillsdale.com. Sign up today with Hillsdale College and begin your deep dive into great education.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic,
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 1:30. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news is sponsored by Ben Hill Renovation. During a swearing-in ceremony at the Oval Office, President Trump was asked what stopped him from imposing new sanctions on Russia.
If I think I'm close to getting a deal, I don't want to screw it up by doing that. Let me tell you, I'm a lot tougher than the people you're talking about, but you have to know when to use that. If I think it's going to hurt a deal, this isn't my war. This is Biden's war, Zelensky's war, and Putin's war. This isn't Trump's war. I'm only here for one thing, to see if I can end it.
And yesterday, the president said that Putin was, quote, playing with fire. Your weather for today, mostly cloudy. A few showers are possible. Afternoon highs around 82, but WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards says it'll be mostly dry today. President Trump is set to pardon reality television stars Todd and Julie Chrisley of fraud and tax evasion convictions. They're famous for Chrisley Knows Best, a reality show that followed their tight-knit family and extravagant lifestyle. The Chrisleys were convicted in 2022 of conspiring to defraud banks here in Atlanta out of more than $30 million in fraudulent loans by submitting false documents. Ford is recalling over 1 million vehicles over an issue with its rear-view cameras. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration saying that the recall impacts a number of models, including certain Broncos, F-Series trucks, Edge, Escape, and Expeditions, among others. A software error in the affected vehicles can cause the rear-view camera to delay, freeze, or not display when the vehicle is in reverse. That increases the risk of a crash. Ford dealerships can update the software for free. And Cobb County Police releasing more details today about that deadly crash over Memorial Day weekend. They confirm 71-year-old Michael Sumler of Chicago was killed. He was a member of the group Kool and the Gang. Investigators believe his car crossed into the opposite lane on Veterans Memorial Highway Sunday night, hitting another vehicle head-on. The other driver was not injured. The investigation is continuing. It's 1:32.
For many of you, it's happening. Your hair's thinning, your crown's disappearing, and maybe hair loss has you feeling your identity is lost altogether. Well, I got good news. It's Advanced Hair's incredible yet simple one-day treatment that starts regrowing your own natural hair the very next day, and it's guaranteed to grow for life. It's Mark Aaron back with you. We've all seen the pills and lotions that come with monthly subscriptions. They help retain what you have, but what about regrowing your hair permanently in specific areas? From Advanced Hair's state-of-the-art facilities to their world-class physicians, it's not maybe your hair will regrow. It's guaranteed that your new hair will grow. You decide how much, how thick, and where. Advanced Hair has changed tens of thousands of lives, and I've seen their results, friends. For your free consultation, $250 off and 250 free hair grafts, call 470-660-HAIR. That's 470-660-HAIR or advancedhair.com.
That's your garage door. Almost broken, but technically not broken yet. And you know the old saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? So you don't fix it, 'cause it ain't broke. And it gets worse. Until one day, 2 a.m., raining alligators, carload full of dry cleaning, you push the button, and out of nowhere, guess what's broke? Your garage door. At Mo Better Garage, we make that way mo better. A garage door that's almost broken can actually do more damage than one that's fully broke. Jammed up parts put an extra strain on the motor, rollers out of whack stress the tracks and the belts. Fix it early, while it's still a simple repair, and before your car gets locked out, or locked in. How do I know? Because I'm Mo. Call Mo Better Garage and we'll come over and make it right. Because if it's almost broke, you fix it.
Mo Better Garage, we make it way more better.
MoBetterGarage.com.
Summertime means lots of home time, so give your family a clean start with help from Zerorez. Why settle for old school chemicals and harsh soaps when you can enjoy ZR water technology for carpets that stay cleaner longer? Right now, you can get 3 rooms of carpet clean for just $129. That is 3 rooms for $129. Mention me, Chris Chandler, to secure this deal or book online at ZerorezAtlanta.com and ask about Zerorez commercial cleaning too. Zerorez, all they leave is clean.
Live team coverage of traffic and weather, Alex Williams.
Crash still lingering in the right lane in Kennesaw, though the tow truck is there. 75 North Wade Green Road, exit 273. That's putting extra pressure on the ride, leaving North Marietta Parkway there in Cobb County. Elsewhere on the south side, I'm checking on a new slow zone, really jammed up. 75 northbound, getting up to Jodico Road, exit 222. We're going to spin the jam cam, see what's causing that jam. And still seeing some brake lights into the cab, 20 eastbound, leaving Wesley Chapel Road, where construction's clearing from the right lane. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. Mostly cloudy, mainly dry, though an isolated rain shower can't be ruled out. High 82.
More news at 2 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. 95.5 WSB.
And occasionally funny. You're listening to The Eric Erickson Show.
Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the United States of America. If you text Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777, you can get the show notes, the live stream, the podcast, so much more. You should subscribe to our YouTube channel as we're trying to grow it. We're on Rumble as well, all of it E.W. Erickson. The New York Times has finally caught up to where I have been for some time. I feel vindicated in that the liberal media is finally where I have been, and I have been where I have been because I know people. If you're a regular listener of the program, you will have heard me over the last month talk about how this administration is re-envisioning our foreign policy away from global dominance and leadership into spheres of influence. What do I mean by spheres of influence? If you go back to the 1800s, actually, you know what? Go back to the 1500s. Let's go all the way back to the 1500s. Spain and Portugal, allegedly with the blessing of the Pope, divided the world. If you watch the show Shogun, which I highly recommend on Hulu, Disney Plus, I think on FX as well, Shogun is one of the better TV shows of the last several years. It's based on the very famous book Shogun, which had been a movie or miniseries in the early 1980s. The show is way better than the original miniseries, and it's about a British sailor on a Dutch vessel who is in search of Japan. There are rumors of Japan, and they travel west from Europe. They sail around South America, across the Pacific. By the time they get to Japan, just about everybody on the ship is dead except for a handful. And of those, the Japanese kill a good portion of them. But the one sailor actually makes it off, over time learns Japanese. It's based mildly on some truth. And the reason that these sailors were in search of Japan is because it was on no map. The Portuguese knew where Japan was. The Catholic Church knew where Japan was. The Protestants were not allowed to know. The Spanish and the Portuguese had divided the world. You know, one of the coolest stories, I think, is in the early 1500s when the Portuguese land in the southern tip of India. They bring Catholic priests with them to share the gospel, and the people there already knew it. They already had some early scripture. They didn't have the whole Bible. That's very early scripture. Some of the early translations or early copies of the Gospel of Mark were found in southern India. Why? Because the Apostle Thomas, Doubting Thomas, made it all the way to southern India before he died. And so when the Catholics get off the ship to begin to evangelize in southern India, they're like, the Apostle Thomas, here's his grave. Brought a copy of the Gospel of Mark. And it was affirming to a lot of people that early copies of Christian letters had made it as far as India. I mean, you already had a developed church. Now, it didn't have the Nicene Creed, it didn't have all this sort of stuff, but it was familiar enough. They had it. It was a small but very persecuted group. And The Portuguese continued along the way to Hong Kong and finally to Japan, and they had divided the world, and the Protestant part of the world was not allowed to know. Now, fast forward into the 1800s. We've had multiple wars. We've gone through Napoleon. We've come into the modern Westphalia system of nations, and the great powers divide up the world. The empires divide the world. The Russians have a sphere of influence. The Austro-Hungarian Empire has a sphere of influence. The French have a sphere of influence. The Belgians have a sphere of influence, albeit small. The British, of course, have an empire on which the sun doesn't set. It's the most globally expansive empire. But the British Empire is having fiscal trouble. In the 1800s, the British are overextended. And what the British decide to start doing, because they're overextended, they've come through a very messy war with France that spilled over into the War of 1812. You've had the Revolutionary War with the United States. The French and the Spanish have essentially worked together against Protestant Great Britain. And what the British decide to start doing is play off of each other. The British, for a time, were very good friends with the French. And then as the French get a little bit too strong, they start shifting their allegiances more toward the Spanish, who get a little too strong. So the British go towards the Austro-Hungarian Empire, get a little too strong. They go toward the Russians, get a little too strong. They go to the French, get a little too strong. Go to the Spanish, get a little too strong. Go to the Germans, get a little too strong. Go to the Russians, get a little, you see, on and on and on and on. And the British were able to play for over 100 years, basically. The British were able to play alliances off each other to maintain British hegemony as best they could at a time of British financial crisis and their global power waning. This is the New York Times today. Now, I have for weeks, for months, been explaining this to you, that this has been my theory. Edward Wong covers U.S. foreign policy. He's the author of a new book on China. He reported this article from Washington and from a trip in the Western Hemisphere with Secretary of State Marco Rubio. That's the description at the beginning. For President Trump, any time is a good time for deal-making, but never more so than now with the leaders of China and Russia. Last week, Mr. Trump said he wanted to normalize commerce with Russia, appearing to lessen the pressure on Moscow to settle its war with Ukraine, and he is trying to limit the fallout from his own global trade war by urging China's leader to call him. We all want to make deals, Mr. Trump said in a recent interview with Time, but I am this giant store. It's a giant, beautiful store, and everybody wants to go shopping there. Mr. Trump may have something even bigger in mind involving Russia and China, and it would be the ultimate deal. His actions and statements suggest he might be envisioning a world in which each of the three so-called great powers, the United States, China, and Russia, dominate its part of the globe. Some foreign policy analysts say it would be a throwback to a 19th century style of imperial rule. Mr. Trump has said he wants to take Greenland from Denmark, annex China, and reestablish American control of the Panama Canal. Those bids to extend U.S. dominance in the Western Hemisphere are the clearest signs yet of his desire to create a sphere of influence in the nation's backyard. He has criticized allies and talked about withdrawing U.S. troops from around the globe. This could benefit Russia and China, which seek to diminish American security presences in Europe and Asia. Mr. Trump often praises President Putin of Russia and Xi of China as strong and smart men who are his close friends. To that end, Mr. Trump has been trying to formalize Russian control of some Ukrainian territory and American access to Ukraine minerals as part of a potential peace deal that critics say would effectively carve up Ukraine, similar to what great powers did in the Age of Empires. Mr. Trump and Mr. Putin spoke about Ukraine in a 2-hour phone call last week. Monica Duffy-Tutt, a professor of international politics at Tufts University's Fletcher School, said the leaders of the United States, Russia, and China are all striving for an imaginary past that was freer and more glorious. Commanding and extending spheres of influence appears to restore a fading sense of grandeur. The term spheres of influence originated at the Berlin Conference of 1884-85, in which European powers adopted a formal plan to carve up Africa. Some close observers of Mr. Trump, including officials from his first administration, caution against thinking his actions and statements are strategic. While Mr. Trump may have strong, long-held attitudes about a handful of issues, notably immigration and trade, he does not have a vision of a world order, they argue. Yet there are signs that Mr. Trump and perhaps some of his aides are thinking in the manner that emperors once did when they conceived of spheres of influence. Now, here's the thing. I think the New York Times is on to this in large part because, well, I think it's an accurate assessment. Donald Trump wants to carve up the world in spheres of influence with China and Russia. I do think he wants to. I think the New York Times article is right that the close observers of Mr. Trump, including officials from his first administration, caution against thinking his actions and statements are strategic. He does not have a vision of a world order. He doesn't. But J.D. Vance does. And Marco Rubio does. And if you listen to J.D. Vance is a very big proponent of reining the United States in. Essentially that we can't be all things to all people anymore. We don't have the money. We don't have the resources. We should have Fortress America with our sphere of influence in the Western Hemisphere, possibly some in Europe and Africa. And otherwise, Russia and China can fight it out. But here's the problem. There's a miscalculation here by those who view it this way. Russia and China are now allies. There is this mythology within the United States always lagging behind that Russia and China are competitors. Historically, yes, they have been. But enemy of our enemies are our friends. The Russians and the Chinese view the United States as their enemy. They become friends. And they've begun collaborating. The Russians are now teaching the Chinese submarine tactics. The Russians' entire tactical database for submarine warfare is based on confronting the United States. The Russians are now teaching the Chinese tactical submarine warfare, which means they're teaching the Chinese to combat the United States. The Russians would not be teaching the Chinese tactical submarine warfare if the Russians weren't allies with the Chinese. And the fact that they're able to learn from each other now, something that wasn't possible 15 years ago, suggests their alliance has evolved. So if the president really wants to divide the world into spheres of influence, it's going to be 2 spheres of influence. It's not going to be 3. And we're going to be the minority. There are ways for the United States to look to the British system in the 1800s and realize a more thoughtful deployment of resources is worth it. So, for example, in Africa, right now, we are telling African nations they're going to have to cover more of their own costs to fight back against Islamic radicalism. Islamic radicalism remains a really big threat. But we're pulling back some resources from Africa. Part of the reason we're pulling back resources is because the Russians and the Chinese have collaborated in kicking the United States out of some countries, and they've now taken our bases. So we're reducing our footprint, but that's allowing Islamic radicalism to fester. The biggest issue for the United States is our fiscal recklessness. If we're not going to really cut entitlements and reform entitlements, we're not going to be able to be the leader of the world. The problem is, if we go back to a sphere of influence, China's not going to cede the Western Hemisphere to us. It's a pipe dream to believe they are. The Chinese are looking to get a stronghold into Haiti right now and the Southern Caribbean. The Chinese are actively wooing partners of the Southern Caribbean so that they can build a naval base within the Caribbean. That would be an actual national security threat to the United States if they did it, and they're trying to pull it off. They've been parking ships in Cuba. They're building up spy relay stations in Cuba, very near Florida. There are red flags around the world, and I just don't know that anyone in Washington right now is really paying as much attention as they need to be. There are all sorts of red flags out there right now about what's happening, and I personally think that I understand the reason those in the White House want to go with a sphere of influence model. But at the same time, I also think it is a very, very naive thing for this administration to be pursuing, because I actually think that we need to be leading the world and not just a portion of the world, in large part because the Chinese and the Russians, they're not going to give us a pass. They're not going to allow us to exercise some level of leadership across the global stage. They want to beat us across the global world stage. And we need to recognize the fact that no other country can take them on. So we need to get our fiscal house in order and build up our military and prepare for what is coming, because what is coming is going to be China and Russia working together against us and our allies. So maybe we need to stop burning bridges with our allies. Okay. Now, I can move on from there. Tell you something big's coming. Time is running out. On July 1st, the new Basel III banking rules go into full effect. They could reshape global finance overnight. For decades, gold has been treated as a second-class collateral, allowing banks to flood the market with paper gold. It's leveraged 100 to 1, but that ends now. Under the new rules, only physical, fully allocated gold will qualify as Tier 1 collateral on par with cash. Paper gold must now be backed by at least 85% real metal, and here's the problem. Most of it isn't. Central banks aren't waiting. They've been quietly stockpiling physical gold for months. They see what's coming. Now, a few days later, after Basel III goes into effect, July 6th and 7th, the BRIC nations are gathering. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and their allies, over 40 countries that want to ditch the U.S. dollar and settle trade in gold. So what you can do is act now and call my friends at Swiss America. They're a trusted leader in precious metals. They have been for over 40 years. Find out how to protect your savings with real physical gold before the rules take effect. Call or text 800-289-2646. That's 800-289-2646. Mention Eric when you call them. You can just text my name, Eric, to 800-289-2646. Let Swiss America help you. Message and data rates may apply.
When the truth seems hazy, Eric will clear the way. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
151, Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. New crash, rollover crash, car on its roof, 285 northbound, the inner loop, Martin Luther King Jr. Drive, exit 9. That is in the right lane. On the south side, center lane crash, 75 northbound, Jodico Road, exit 222, and still in the right lane with the crash in Kennesaw, 75 north at Wade Green. Traffic brought to you by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies, offering national LTE coverage for a limited time. Go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
It pays to have the WSB radio app. Download it today and get ready for the Blitz.
Oh my God.
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz. 5 chances a day to win $5,000.
It's a Blitz.
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
Your next chance to win is coming up at 2 p.m.
Oh, that's cool.
From 95.5 WSB.
Download the WSB radio app now.
Summertime means lots of home time, so give your family a clean start with help from Zerorez. Why settle for old school chemicals and harsh soaps when you can enjoy ZR water technology for carpets that stay cleaner longer? Right now, you can get 3 rooms of carpet clean for just $129. That is 3 rooms for $129. Mention me, Chris Chandler, to secure this deal, or book online at ZerorezAtlanta.com and ask about Zerorez commercial cleaning too. Zerorez, all they leave is clean.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. When we place our loved ones in a nursing home, we expect them to receive the best care. We meet with families who learn that their mothers and fathers, grandmothers and grandfathers have been terribly abused in nursing homes. Bed sores, malnutrition, broken bones, dehydration, and yes, even death. If you believe that a loved one has been abused or neglected while living in a nursing home, call us. The consultation is free.
Morgan & Morgan, Atlanta, 191 Peach Street, Atlanta, Georgia. Thou pound law. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
This is Scott Slade. Nothing takes the place of time when it comes to spotting problems with your health, especially cancer. The earlier, the better. Like me. My doctor saw one lab work number that led to a diagnosis early enough, so I still had options. Now, that's where virtual imaging comes in. They've got the safest CT imaging option in the Southeast with 98% accuracy. Virtual Imaging's LDCT body scan can be invaluable, giving you time and options for early treatment. They can detect tumors as early as precancerous virtually anywhere in your body, and aneurysms you may not even know are there. For a limited time, Virtual Imaging is offering their LDCT body scan for only $995 per scan. That's a $2,495 value. Now, appointments must be scheduled in May. There are a limited number of scans available at this price, so a few minimum requirements may apply. Don't put this off. I've done it. Call 770-678-SCAN. That's 770-678-SCAN. Or make an appointment by visiting their website at virtualimagingatl.com.
WSB Atlanta, WSB BFM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
You've had your windshield wipers on high a lot lately, and they're getting the job done, but
How is your roof holding up after all this heavy rain? Dave Baker here from my local experts at Finley Roofing, the roof guys. It's a fact. Water is your home's #1 enemy, so weather like we've been having recently can really challenge your roof. You may not even see signs that your roof is leaking or damaged, so after weather like this, think of Finley first and schedule a free roof analysis. Finley will send a highly trained professional to your home who will thoroughly examine your roof. No obligation, no charge. Finley is the best. They installed the roof on my home, and I trust them, and you can too. Finley's replaced over 65,000 local roofs. They've mastered the roof replacement process with impeccable, high-quality work. They've seen it all and replaced it all. Schedule your free roof analysis at FinleyRoofing.com.
Roof. All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB.
Join Eric's Army of Activists. Text ARMY to 33777 now.
Hello and welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the United States of America. By now, I'm sure you've heard about the student visa pause. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has ordered U.S. embassies worldwide to stop scheduling interviews for student visas as the Trump administration weighs stricter vetting of applicants' social media profiles. The directive, laid out in a cable sent to diplomats worldwide on Tuesday, marks the latest effort by the administration to restrict foreign students' entry to American schools over claims that they might threaten U.S. national security or promote anti-Semitism. The move raises the stakes of an ongoing battle between the White House and universities, one that initially centered on elite schools like Harvard and Columbia. You know, the reality is that a lot of these students who came into Columbia, Harvard, and the Ivy League from abroad had social media accounts, which they were deeply not just anti-Semitic, but anti-America. One of the kids that they've now booted out of the country actually had a long social media profile on hating the United States and wanting to come to the United States to essentially wage jihad against the United States. It was allowed into one of these academic institutions. David Leopold, this is from Bloomberg News. David Leopold, a Cleveland-based immigration attorney, said the Trump administration's move could be, quote, cataclysmic, maybe even catastrophic for international students and U.S. universities that rely on them. The economic impacts and cultural impacts are massive. I'm sorry, but how is it anything but a good thing that we're not going to allow kids into this country who want to kill us? How is it anything other than a good thing that the United States is blocking anti-Semites and anti-American would-be jihadists from taking up root in the United States? I don't understand why these people are so outraged by it. By the way, you go back 30, 40 years, and Harvard was 98% American kids. It's not, you know, they could open their doors to more Americans if they weren't so hostile to the idea. It just absolutely infuriating that these people are going to light their hair on fire over a good idea like this. Now, I want you to rush to omahasteaks.com because Father's Day is coming, and you're going to want to get your father delicious steak. That reminds me, Father, I need to call you and see if you want me to take you to dinner for Father's Day. My dad, and I think they've gotten rid of their grill. I used to send my dad Father's Day steaks from Omaha Steaks pretty often, and they're always delicious. Their New York strips are great. Their bacon wrap fillets are great. In fact, if you go to omahasteaks.com today, load up your cart for your dad, and at checkout, use promo code ERIC, E-R-I-C-K, in the promo code box, and you'll save an extra $35, minimum order required. It's an unbelievable deal from Omaha Steaks. You go load up your cart with deliciousness, send it to yourself or your father, whoever you want to send it to, and you put my name in at checkout, Eric, and you get $35 off. omahasteaks.com. Father's Day is coming up. Take care of your dad with omahasteaks.com.
Attention men, are you suffering from ED or PE? Here's an important message from Choice Men's Health.
I'm Dr. Katz, and I'm the Chief Medical Director at Choice Men's Health. Are you performing the way you want to in the bedroom? If the answer is no, and you've tried Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra and were disappointed, then you need to come see us immediately. If you don't see results on the first visit, then there's no charge. Many of our patients have medical conditions such as diabetes, hypertension, obesity, and prostate problems. I'm happy to say that we have 98% success rate with all our patients. Our customized solutions will allow you to perform within 10 minutes and last an hour and even longer. You can regain your love life and tackle your ED and PE problems. Guys, your partner will never complain again. Our clinic has the most affordable prices, so if you visit other clinics and you're not completely satisfied, then you need to call Choice Men's Health.
Regain your love life regardless of your age or medical history. Choice Men's Health guarantees results on your first visit or you pay nothing. Call now. 404-400-1170. That's 404-400-1170.
News, weather,
Traffic. 95.5 WSB. Atlanta's News and Talk.
At 2 o'clock, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top local story. New details emerge as part of an ongoing investigation into last year's Biolab chemical fire in Conyers. There were several alleged shortcomings leading to the release of a massive toxic plume.
Chemical Safety Board investigators find the Pole Chemical manufacturer had nearly 14 million pounds of water-reactive chemicals on site, more than double what it said would be stored there. 3 million pounds of that product were stored outside of a protective firewall directly under corroded sprinkler heads. Paul Glaze with Georgia Conservation Voters says it shows the storage of the chemicals was a risk, not production.
How much danger are we going to put a community in for something as non-essential as a pool cleaning chemical?
Biolab says it disagrees with many of the claims in the report. Austin Eller, 95.5 WSB.
74 degrees in Atlanta, only isolated showers around today. Meteorologist Christina Edwards has Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast coming up. This just in, a ruling from the Georgia Supreme Court today upholds a state law banning people under 21 years old from carrying handguns in public. 20-year-old Thomas Stevens was seeking to overturn the law after his application for a weapons carry license was denied by a probate court. People who are at least 18 are allowed to have a gun on their own property or car and at their place of business. They can also use them for hunting, fishing, or sport shooting. WSB scam alert. Don't believe a text message claiming you have unpaid tickets, which could lead to a suspension of your driver's license.
No one is immune to the scam. In fact, I received it when I was distributing this press release to try to warn all of our customers. In fact, it's not specific to Georgia. It's a national scam.
Susan Sports with the Georgia Department of Driver Services says this is not legitimate DDS communication. Do not click on any links or provide personal information. Kool and the Gang member Mike Sumler, known as Chicago Mike, was killed in a car crash in Cobb County over the weekend. Cobb police released new details on the crash today. Investigators believe Sumler's car crossed into the opposite lanes on Veterans Memorial Highway Sunday night, striking another car head-on. The other driver was not injured. Sumler was 71 years old. He joined Kool and the Gang in 1985. The band was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame last year. Georgia Congresswoman Nikema Williams says she's ready to fight to make sure Head Start has the money it needs to help low-income families.
Head Start literally gives kids a head start in life.
According to the Georgia Head Start Association, more than 25,000 kids in Georgia take advantage of the program. It is now 2:02. This news sponsored by Brett Beckers. Up next, live team coverage of traffic and weather.
If you've been in a motorcycle accident, move swiftly to protect your rights. It's Eric Von Hessler, and I recommend Steel Horse Law, motorcycle injury lawyers who ride. They're 100% local, the only firm that's a major part of the North Georgia motorcycle community. At your next local bike night, ride, or charity event, stop by their booth and say hello. Steel Horse Law can help you get back on your feet, medical bills paid, back to work, and your case resolved. Request a free Rider's Advantage card at steelhorselaw.com.
At Kroger, we've lowered prices on over 1,000 items across our stores so you can save even more. Whether you're shopping in-store or online at Kroger, we've lowered prices on thousands of the items your family wants and needs. And with lower prices, your dollar goes further every time you shop with us. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Right now, 18-ounce packages of Georgia-grown blueberries or 12-ounce packages of raspberries are just $3.49 each with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Men, trouble in the bedroom? Not anymore. Priority Men's Medical Center restores your love life in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Priority Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Priority Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. You'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients get their testosterone checked free. Call 404-885-8885. 404-885-8885. To restore your love life in just one visit, call now. 404-885-8885.
Hi, I'm Glenn Burns. As a meteorologist for over 40 years, I've seen how weather impacts our homes. That's why I chose windows that withstand our weather extremes and keep my family comfortable. I picked North Georgia replacement windows for my home, and I recommend them for yours. Their Infinity from Marvin fiberglass windows are beautiful, and they're energy efficient. Plus, I know my windows will stay tight and true no matter the forecast.
Infinity from Marvin, replacement windows, yeah!
It is 2:05, time for live team coverage of traffic and weather. Alex Williams in the traffic center.
It is busy out there, Bill. We got a crash, been there far too long in the right lane. 75 North Wade Green Road, exit 273, slow in the right out of Marietta. Now southbound is slow, 75 south from Wade Green down to Barrett Parkway. Construction set up in the right lane there. Car on its roof, right lane is blocked with its rollover crash. 285 northbound, the inner loop Martin Luther King Jr. Drive. And the crash just cleared in Henry County, 75 northbound at Jodico Road. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Mostly cloudy today. An isolated rain shower can't be ruled out, but mainly dry. High 82. Lows tonight in the mid-60s. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy with scattered rain showers and thunderstorms. High 79. Friday, mostly cloudy with widespread heavy rain and thunderstorms. High 78.
69 right now in Woodstock. Also 69 in Snellville. 74 in Fayetteville. More news at 2:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
It's the WSB 5K a day bonus blitz. This hour's keyword is play. Play. Go to the WSB Radio app or WSBRadio.com/cash for your chance to win. Again, that keyword is play. Play. Join me live at 3 for the Von Haessler Doctrine, and I'll have your next keyword and chance to win at 5.
Hello, America. It is Eric Erickson here this fine day. I hope you're having a great one. We have to talk about one of the nerdiest subjects imaginable, and I will do my best to make it interesting. We're going to talk about shipbuilding right now because I saw a story that blew my mind. Have you heard of the Jones Act? The Jones Act is an American protectionist law that requires that ships going from U.S. port to U.S. port be American built. It's a more than 100-year-old law. American-made vessels are required to transport cargo between American ports. So, for example, after the devastating hurricane in Puerto Rico years ago, it was a struggle to get aid to Puerto Rico because only American ships could be used to send food and supplies from American ports to Puerto Rico because Puerto Rico is an American port, and there aren't enough ships. It's a very stupid protectionist act. And so you have to build Jones Act compliant container ships. And those Jones Act compliant container ships are built where? The United States. And the result is that the United States has, because of protectionism, built up inefficiencies, and because of those inefficiencies, is falling behind the rest of the world. It is staggering to understand what's at stake here. President Trump And some members of Congress want to revive a depleted American shipbuilding industry to compete with China, the world's biggest maker of ships by far. It's such a daunting goal that some shipping experts say it's destined to fail. More hopeful analysts and industry executives say the Trump administration and Congress could succeed, but only if they're willing to spend billions of dollars over many years. Let me just scroll through this and give you some data here. In the last 10 years, now pay attention to these numbers, big numbers here. In the last 10 years, Chinese shipbuilders delivered 6,765 commercial ships, nearly half of all global ship deliveries. Japan delivered 3,130. South Korea delivered 2,405. The United States, 37. The few American-made vessels that shipping lines do buy usually transport cargoes solely between American ports. Under the Jones Act, such voyages can only be served by American ships. An order for 3 Jones Act-compliant container ships struck by the previous owner of the Philadelphia shipyard costs around $330 million per ship. A similar size ship built in Asia costs $70 million. In their shipbuilding bill, Democrat and Republican lawmakers seek to address the cost differences by subsidizing shipping companies to put 250 American-made vessels operated with American crews into a strategic commercial fleet. Lawmakers hope that assembling such a fleet and other incentives will not only provide a steady stream of orders for American shipbuilding, but also help them grow and become more efficient. Critics of the bill contend it would provide endless subsidies to high-cost shipbuilders. A better approach to counter China's dominance, they say, would be to make up the strategic fleet with vessels made in Japan and South Korea, both U.S. allies. Now, here's what happens for all of you. It's like, oh, my poor American shipbuilder, they'll go out of business. The Jones Act has put them out of business. American shipbuilders have not had to innovate. The United States has a larger population than South Korea, has more ports than South Korea, and can't build nearly as many ships as South Korea. Let me give you the data. Hanwha is the largest shipbuilder in South Korea. So we're not talking China. We're not talking massive population. We're not talking massive country. We're talking small country with population smaller than the United States. We can build 1.5 ships per year in the Philadelphia shipyard. Hanwha, at a comparable facility in South Korea, builds 1 a week. I want to give you this again because it blows your mind and shows you the problem. We build 1.5 ships a year compared to 1 a week in South Korea. Mr. Kim is a Hanwha executive, said many products, not just ships, cost more to make in the United States, and he added that outsourcing shipbuilding to other countries has contributed to the withering of American production. It's not just about business, he said. It's about the country. It's about labor. It's about priorities and strategic decisions. Washington's grand designs for shipping include the tankers that carry liquefied natural gas, which are much more complex to manufacture than ships that carry containers. The Trump administration's new shipping rules require that an increased portion of these ships be built in the United States. Hanwha has produced 200 such vessels in South Korea, Mr. Kim said. The dry docks at the Philadelphia shipyard are big enough to accommodate certain LNG containers. But even if Hanwha successfully transfers its manufacturing expertise to the United States, it might struggle to find skilled workers. It is planning to double the size of its workforce from 1,500 employees in less than 10 years, Kelly Whitaker, a spokesman for Hanwha Philly, said. Next year, it wants to double the size of its apprentice class to 240 trainees. Nisi Zlomek, who moved to Philadelphia from Baltimore 8 years ago, joined Hanwha Philly as an apprentice, earning $22 an hour. It's probably the best job I've had since I've lived here, she said. Ms. Zlomek has so far worked on 3 vessels, helping to install a bow thruster, a type of propulsion system, and a conveyance system for large rocks. Even when shipbuilders do manage to recruit workers, they have often struggled to keep them. Shipyards building naval vessels lose many of their first-year employees. Brett Seidel, an acting Assistant Secretary of the Navy, said at a congressional hearing in March. Y'all, we build 1.5 ships per year that in a comparable facility in South Korea turns out a ship a week. We turn out 37 ships in the last 10 years. South Korea turned out 2,405. Japan turned out 3,130. China turned out 6,765. There are basic rules of economics. Subsidies actually breed inefficiencies. Because the slower the work goes, the more the government pours in money to speed up the work. Protectionism breeds inefficiencies. When only American ships can go from American port to American port, there's no incentive to expedite the building of those ships because no other ships can actually go from port to port, so the Americans can just wait. Labor costs and everything else. Now, side note, this also relates to Apple. Donald Trump has decided to single out Apple, but now he said Samsung and other device makers as well are going to pay massive tariffs if they don't build their phones in the United States. This is Democrat protectionist thinking. This isn't free market Republican thinking. If you want Apple to build phones in the United States, deregulate. Get rid of labor costs, get rid of the OSHA regulations and the compliance costs and the environmental regulations that other countries don't have that cause everything to be more expensive in the United States. Get rid of the zoning laws that impact the ability to build the factory. Get rid of the regulations, get rid of the taxes, get rid of the rules, get rid of the labor impediments that would cause Apple to build abroad. And instead, the alternative, what the Trump administration has pursued is we're going to impose tariffs. You know what? It's still cheaper. The analysts who have looked at this said it's still going to be cheaper for Apple to build its products in India and pay a 25% tariff than it is to build the products in the United States because of regulations related to land, regulations related to building, regulations related to labor, regulations related to operation, taxes, compliance costs, litigation costs. It's so expensive to build technical products in the United States, and instead of deregulating and lowering the cost of doing business in the United States, because, oh my gosh, the workforce, I mean, you've got to have OSHA to protect the worker from the company. They're going to build them in India, and they're going to pay the tariff because it's cheaper. Why are we Republicans thinking like Democrats in this? Don't engage in protectionism and tariffs. Engage in cutting costs. You know what? If a ship can be built quicker in South Korea than the United States, let's use that ship. Let's let companies buy that ship and bring it to the United States. And if you want to build in the United States, if you think it's a national security issue, and by the way, I actually do think it's a national security issue, and we should be building ships in the United States, instead of engaging in subsidy and protectionism with the Jones Act, let's get rid of the Jones Act and force competition. What we've done is we've taken competition out of American shipbuilding. We've surrounded it with this hedge of protection, not the Christian kind, but the governmental regulatory kind that seems to be more effective than the religious kind. Instead of sending angels we can't see, they send government auditors to harass and bully. Instead of sending the power of God to help the shipbuilders, they send the power of government to tax and tariff and regulate. And the result is we, the United States of America, have killed off our shipbuilding. And it's absurd to me that the plan to get ships built in this country is to engage in more protectionism and to engage in government subsidy. Government subsidy is what got us into this mess in the first place. To some degree, the Jones Act acts as a government subsidy, limiting who can participate in American port-to-port transfers. It's crippled innovation. It's allowed American shipbuilders to not have to engage the latest technologies. The reason South Korea and Japan deliver so many more ships than ours is because their ports and their shipbuilding capabilities are largely automated. So they have large workforces, but they supplement the workforces with automation. And in this country, between union rules and shipbuilder rules and regulations, we don't automate. It's got to be manual labor that slows down the process. Look at ports abroad. Do you know that ports in other countries can expedite cargo transfers off of ships to the ports faster than in this country? Because in this country, particularly on the West Coast, labor rules require that the process can't be automated. They can't use robots, they can't use automation, and so it slows down our port transfers. So it's takes longer and is more expensive to get cargo off of ships in the United States. And you know what? You pay for that. You pay for that. The slowness, the shipping cost, the labor cost, it translates into an increased cost in the product. If we're going to keep engaging in this level of protectionism and government subsidy, we're not going to improve the situation. If anything, it's going to be worse over time. And the cost of the ships are going to get more expensive. You want to lower the cost and make it faster, you get rid of subsidy, get rid of the Jones Act, get rid of the regulation. You do everything you can to incentivize through the tax code and deregulation building ships in this country. And guess what? You treat it as a serious national security issue, you're still going to get more ships built in this country. But it is absurd to me that in the last 10 years, Japan has produced 3,000 ships, South Korea has produced 2,400 ships, and we've only produced 37. It's not like we don't have the port capacity, the harbor capacity to build the ships. We just don't have the intellectual capacity to understand that we've got to get out of our own way, and the government instead has inserted itself into the process, and it has fostered inefficiency.
Follow Eric on X, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. Search EW Erickson.
220 Cool Day Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. 2 travel advisories over on the west side. Crash I-20 eastbound Holmes Drive, exit 52. That is in a couple of right lanes. Use MLK or Highway 78. And travel advisory, crash 285 northbound the inner loop at MLK Junior Drive, exit number 9. That's in 2 right lanes. Use 7585 north as an alternate. Traffic brought to you by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies, offering national LTE coverage for a limited time. Go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
It's the WSB 5K a day bonus blitz. This hour's keyword is play. Play. Go to the WSB Radio app or WSBradio.com/cash for your chance to win. Again, that keyword is play. Play. Join me live at 3 for the Von Haessler Doctrine, and I'll have your next keyword and chance to win at 5.
So you're losing your hair and you need a simple solution that works, but you want the best. It's Mark Arum here. Modern technology, top-rated physicians. You want something that's guaranteed to work. Guys, you need Advanced Hair. Advanced Hair's completely redefined hair restoration, from the experience itself to the unmatched results they produce. Receding hairline, bald spot, thinning hair, address them all with a simple one-day treatment in a calm, relaxed environment with experienced pros. Advanced Hair has performed tens of thousands of breakthrough advanced FUE treatments, and get this, your own natural hair begins to regrow the very next day. No one else in Atlanta can offer the advanced FUE found at Advanced Hair. Fix your hair loss today, starting with your free consultation, and you'll also get $500 off if you move forward. Call 470-660-HAIR. Refine your hairline with the team that's redefined hair restoration. And don't forget to ask about that Advanced Hair Guarantee, 470-660-HAIR or advancedhair.com.
Finding trustworthy people to properly fix your septic system can seem hopeless. Hi, I'm Shannon, owner of Scorpion Septic. Don't give up hope. Just read some of our 5-star reviews. Your neighbors know my trustworthy team will solve your septic problems on the spot.
Take the sting out of septic service with Scorpion Septic. Never a pump out charge with your repair. Get a free quote at scorpionsepticservices.com.
ScorpionSepticServices.com.
Rates are up, rates are down. Every day it's something different. If you're curious about what's going on and when the best time will be to buy or refinance your home, call the experts I trust at MyLend. This is Scott Slade. There's a reason the guys and gals at MyLend are able to close loans that other local banks just can't. The folks at MyLend are local and somebody you can trust to make sure you get the best loan for your needs at the best rate. You don't have to take my word for it. Here are lines from some recent testimonials. MyLend kept me up to date and informed with every step of the way. They make you feel like you're one of the most important clients they have. MyLend specializes in home financing and they've seen it all. So whether you want to access the equity in your home to pay for other debts, buy a new home, or anything else, MyLend is the place to call. 770-817-2000. That's 770-817-2000. Or online at smylend.com. Spelled it MILEND. NMLS and Georgia Mortgage License C148769. MyLend's located at 8995 Westside Parkway, Alpharetta, Georgia 30009. MyLend is an equal housing lender.
Thanks for calling Reliable Heating and Air.
Hi, my AC just died and I live in Perry, Georgia. Do you come out this far?
Yep. We have over 300 techs all over the Macon, Atlanta, and Athens area, and we can fix it fast.
Great. Replacing it's going to be super expensive, right?
How does $69.99 a month sound?
Wow.
Get any size air conditioner from Reliable for only $69.99 a month with zero down, our lifetime warranty, and guaranteed next day installation, or we pay you $500. Go to ReliableAir.com.
These days, the Atlanta real estate market is just like Atlanta weather, unpredictable. Hi, I'm Deborah Morton, host of Inside Georgia Real Estate here on WSB every Saturday at 1 p.m. If there was ever a time to work with a true real estate expert, now is that time. In all my years in residential real estate, this is the most change and volatility I've seen. A misstep could cost thousands. This is when experience matters. My team and I are passionate about providing clarity to our clients through our expertise in real estate. So, if you're thinking of buying or selling a home, we can give you that clarity so you can make great choices and the best decisions. And yes, I host Inside Georgia Real Estate here on WSB, but you don't have to wait until Saturday for help. Go to InsideGeorgiaRealEstate.com and ask me anything. My team and I are here for you. Go to InsideGeorgiaRealEstate.com for clarity in buying or selling your home.
Your non-stop news source, 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Get Eric's daily show prep email. Text DATA to 33777 and you'll be in the know.
Mike Gallagher is the former Republican congressman from Wisconsin who led the Bipartisan Commission on China. He now works for Palantir, and he got frustrated with Congress. And let me read you this. He just put this up on Twitter. Artificial intelligence now generates code faster than engineers and guides missiles with inhuman precision. Yet in America's shipyards, production still runs on clipboards, cold calls, and institutional memory. The status quo must change. President Trump's executive order on restoring American maritime dominance recognizes a truth long denied in Washington. The American industrial base that won World War II is ill-equipped to either deter or win the next one. If the United States is to prevent World War III, we must outbuild our adversaries, not with nostalgia, but with a new era of AI-driven industrial might. The Chinese Communist Party understands what we've forgotten. Scale wins wars. China's shipyards are building at an industrial tempo unmatched since World War II. By 2035, the Chinese Navy is projected to field 475 warships, close to 160 more than the United States. That fleet is overwhelmingly concentrated in one key theater, the Western Pacific. Meanwhile, the U.S. Navy must cover every ocean, sea, and strait with fewer than 300 ships. The imbalance is widening, and so is the strategic risk to American interests and our allies. But quantity is only part of the equation. Throughput is equally decisive. In the 80s, American shipyards could produce anywhere from 15 to 25 ships a year. Today, that number's fallen to 5. With Xi Jinping reportedly instructing his military to be ready to seize Taiwan by 2027, there's an urgent need for a shipbuilding renaissance. Solving the shipbuilding crisis requires more than just federal funding. It demands urgency and command-level precision. Just as President Trump launched Warp Speed to rapidly address pharmaceutical supply chain disruptions in the midst of the pandemic, the United States needs an industrial warp speed for warships. When aligned with the President's executive order, Warp Speed for warships will become the mechanism by which America transforms legacy into velocity and reclaims maritime dominance. The unmanned naval systems sector offers a glimpse of what's possible in proof of concept. At Anduril, Palantir Warp Speed has already delivered a 200-fold increase in supply chain responsiveness. It's now accelerating production of unmanned surface vehicles, critical to the Pacific. It's a great read. If you go to Palantir on Twitter, Palantir Tech, you'll be able to get it. Now, I got to tell you guys about my friends at Vision Computer, which are at the forefront of technology for you and your business. If you're buying a computer, if you're building a computer, if you're upgrading a computer, Vision Computer can do that for you. They'll save you money in the process, and they'll give you something that not just lasts, but when the time comes for something new, they can upgrade your parts within your computer so you're not constantly having to get whole new machines. What you do is you go to visioncomputers.com or you call them at 404-COMPUTE, and you tell them I sent you. You're going to save some money. Anybody nationwide can take advantage of this. They're a great company. They work with people in all 50 states. And if you want their tech support, they have it set up so you get a special phone number. And if you don't have a computer, if you have a computer from them, it's for free. If you don't have a computer for $179 a year, you can get their tech support. So anytime you have an issue, you call a special number. They can remote into your computer and work with you to fix it. They can do email support, printer support. If you're in the gig economy, you need to always be online for your job. They're a great resource. 404-COMPUTER, visioncomputers.com. Call Vision. Tell them I sent you. You'll save even more money. 404-COMPUTE or visioncomputers.com.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
At 2:30, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top local story. The Georgia Supreme Court today upholds a state law banning people under 21 years old from carrying handguns in public. 20-year-old Thomas Stevens was seeking to overturn the law after his application for a weapons carry license was denied by a probate court. His attorney, John Monroe, says he's not shocked by the ruling.
It was an uphill battle, and that was even discussed during oral arguments, that what we were asking for was for them to overturn maybe 100 years worth of precedent.
People who are at least 18 are allowed to have a gun on their own property. They can also use them for hunting, fishing, or sport shooting. Disturbing new findings in the investigation of the Biolab fire in Conyers. The U.S. Chemical Safety Board says the company had more than 7 million additional pounds of water-reactive chemicals on site, with 3 million stored outside a firewall and beneath corroded sprinkler heads.
There's nothing in this report or any reporting that's come out or any previous reports about this incident that suggests that this was a thoroughly managed facility from the company level.
Paul Glaze with Georgia Conservation Voters says the report validates previous findings from other investigations. Biolab says in a statement it disagrees with many claims made by the safety board. The man who died in a car accident in Cobb County over the weekend is identified today as Kool and the Gang member Mike Sumler, who is known as Chicago Mike. He was 71 years old. The Trump administration is rejecting North Carolina's request for additional money from FEMA for the cleanup from Tropical Storm Helene last fall. The decision means North Carolina will only be reimbursed at 90% from the federal government, leaving the state with about a $200 million deficit. It is 2:32.
It's not going away. That spot you're trying to ignore in the ceiling, yep, it was there last week. It was there last month, and it's only going to get worse. Hey, it's Dave Baker, host of the Home Fix-It Show. For my experts at Finley Roofing, the roof guys, everything you own and love lives under your roof, and it's long overdue to be replaced. So think of Finley first. Now that Finley has 0% financing available, it's even easier to stop procrastinating and get your roof replaced. Finley has installed over 65,000 roofs locally, including mine. They've mastered the roof replacement process with impeccable, high-quality work. Finley's seen it all and replaced it all. That's why Finley stands behind their work with a lifetime warranty on labor and materials at no additional cost. Nobody else does that. So now with 0% financing available, get started today with a Finley Roofing free roof analysis. FinleyRoofing.com.
Roof. City of Hope, a place where seemingly impossible blood cancers become treatable.
curable. With more than 19,000 bone marrow transplants performed, we're the largest and most successful program in the U.S., making major breakthroughs in treating leukemia, lymphoma, and rare blood cancers, personalizing a treatment plan right down to your DNA. Now the experts striving to make the impossible a reality are closer to home. Learn more at cityofhope.org.
What you walk on in your home should be wonderful.
Hi, I'm Michael, proud founder of Authentic Hardwood Flooring. Your summer vacation is going to be awesome, but coming home to those floors won't be. While you're gone, let our highly trained installers transform your space. Just imagine coming home to beautiful new floors. Our promise is to make your flooring process painless. Our focus is to make it perfect.
Authentic Hardwood Flooring offers high-quality craftsmanship with an exceptional customer experience. AuthenticHardwoodFlooring.com.
Hey, get a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate and sell your home for maximum value, and that's without the stress of listing your home on the market. Hey, Sean Hannity here. You know, trying to sell your home can be overwhelming. With the guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate, you can skip the entire hassle, get an all-cash offer, and close within days. That means no showings, no open houses, and the best part, no stress. Just go to markspain.com and find out what your guaranteed offer will be, and then you can start packing.
At 2:34, Alex Williams in the traffic center.
Still watching this crash on the west side, inner loop 285 northbound Martin Luther King Jr. Drive, exit 9. Holding 2 right lanes to get it cleared up. That's why you're slow from Cascade Road. That crash 20 eastbound at Holmes Drive, exit 52. Now down to just a right lane block, but you're slow to Fulton Industrial Boulevard. Still got right lane construction in Kennesaw, 75 south at Barrett Parkway. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Mostly cloudy, mainly dry, though an isolated rain shower can't be ruled out. High 82.
78 in Fairburn, 71 in Lawrenceville, 77 in Villa Rica. More news at 3 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
He's got the courage to tell you the truth, because the truth is what matters. You're listening to The Eric Erickson Show.
Hello there, it is Eric Erickson here. I need to read you this, and you should all be bothered by it. This is on social media. This is from the Democratic Socialists of America Liberation Caucus. It says, excellent statement. We are proud to add our name to. Free Elias Rodriguez and all political prisoners. Now, what is this? This is them responding to a Unity of Fields piece. Unity of Fields is a progressive activist group, and they released this statement. The Palestinian struggle is the tip of the spear against global imperialism. As imperialism has made the entire world its battlefield, it is justified to fight it by any means necessary without regard for geography. This holds especially true for those of us struggling behind enemy lines inside the U.S., an entity that is an equal party in all crimes committed by the Zionists. Whether in the besieged Gaza Strip, the Red Sea, the south of Lebanon, or the heart of the U.S., there must be consequences for genocidal Zionist imperialism, and those consequences are righteous. Free Elias Rodriguez. Build the international popular cradle of resistance, says Unity of Fields. And this is the Democratic Socialists of America saying, excellent statement. We're proud to add our name to. Free Elias Rodriguez and all political prisoners. That's right. They're using the language of political prisoner for a man who stalked 2 Israeli embassy workers and murdered them outside a Jewish museum in Washington, D.C. Now, this is notable because multiple members. Can someone get Manu Raju on the line at CNN and get him to ask those members of Congress if they agree with the statement? Is Elias Rodriguez a political prisoner? Can someone get Manu Raju? Because Manu Raju at CNN is famous for shoving his microphone in the faces of Republican members of Congress and asking them if they agree with people like Marjorie Taylor Greene or Lauren Boebert or random Joe Blow city councilman Republican from BFE, Alaska. Where are the reporters asking Democrats about this? Sean Trende is at Real Clear Politics. Sean Trende is a very smart guy. He is a very, very good guy. He was responding to something that I had tweeted out last night. A progressive had the audacity to say something that I know many of them believe. You just rarely get them to actually say it. This guy actually said, well, you know, the truth favors the left. The facts are on our side. These are the same people who believe boys can become girls. They're the same people who decided we needed to fill up skate parks with sand during COVID so people couldn't be outside skating. They're the people who dismissed the Hunter Biden laptop story. Sean Trende writes, a lot of people on the left and the right don't really get that this is how media bias works. It's generally not that people wake up in the morning trying to hurt Republicans. It's that you can be 100% factually accurate and still have your analysis skewed by normative judgments. This type of bias skews what stories you think are newsworthy, what the starting point of analysis should be, what facts are critical to report, which experts to quote, where the story is, where do you place the different facts. Like this is Sean Trende, I'm generally sympathetic to trans rights. Of course, that impacts the stories I think are important, what my starting point is, etc. The problem comes when you have an industry where almost everyone shares the same basic starting points. The whole shebang gets skewed. It's true. It's the problem with National Public Radio. You have an echo chamber of the left. They don't question each other. They have the same worldview. They think the same things are legitimate and illegitimate. They think the same stories are right. They're dismissive of certain facts and embrace other facts. They give weight to certain pieces of evidence and downplay other evidence. If a random city councilman who is a Republican from Nowheresville, Indiana, says something racist, reporters on Capitol Hill go to Republicans and shove microphones in their faces and demand to know if they stand with that city councilman who is a Republican and what should happen to that man. Should he be held accountable? Should he be removed from the party? Or what does the Republican Party stand for? There are multiple Democrats in the United States Congress who have directly chosen to ally themselves with and affiliate with the Democratic Socialists of America. When Donald Trump referred to the people in prison for storming into the Capitol on January 6th as political prisoners, reporters in Washington, D.C. went to Republicans in Congress and demanded to know if they agreed with the president that these people were political prisoners. I say Manu Raju at CNN. I don't mean to pick on Manu. He's a good reporter, but he's very famous for shoving his microphone in the faces of Republicans and demanding answers for certain questions. And I always wonder, is he going to do it to the Democrats, and is CNN going to actually put it on TV when he does it? You have the Democratic Socialists of America saying Ilya Rodriguez is a political prisoner. You have Atlanta Presley, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, Bernie Sanders, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and others have chosen to affiliate with, work with, and identify as members of the Democratic Socialists of America. They participated in events with them. Where is the microphone in their faces demanding to know if they believe Ilyas Rodriguez, who murdered 2 Israeli embassy employees, is a political prisoner? And will they condemn the Democratic Socialists of America Liberation Caucus for amplifying, echoing, and declaring their solidarity with a statement that essentially says we've got to fight the imperialists wherever they are, and if they're the United States and the United States is guilty of imperialism, we've got to fight the United States here. Do they believe in violence against the United States and those who support the United States? Do they believe in violence against Israelis? Do they believe in violence who support Israel? Do they believe in violence against Americans who call themselves Zionists? If it was Republicans, the microphones would have already been in their faces. If it was Republicans, there would be a price to pay for affiliating with a group. But you'll notice the media will not pursue it. It's just another example of the subtle biases of the press, the stories they tell and don't tell, the stories they tend to engage with and don't engage with. Now, we've got to shift back to Elon Musk, because the Washington Post has a story out about how he believes Doge just became targeted in Washington as the whipping boy. This is Christian Davenport, the Washington Post. Elon Musk, returning to SpaceX on Tuesday for a test flight of his Starship spacecraft, said in an interview that slashing the size of federal government proved far tougher than he expected, and lamented the intense criticism leveled at the U.S. Doge service, which he led. The federal bureaucracy situation is worse than I realized. I thought there were problems, but it sure is an uphill battle trying to improve things in D.C., to say the least. He said repercussions over Doge cuts had been severe. Doge is just becoming the whipping boy for everything, he said. So like everything bad would happen anywhere, and we would get blamed for it even if we had nothing to do with it. He also expressed dismay over the reputational hit his companies took. People were burning Teslas. Why would you do that? That's really uncool. Musk told CBS News in a separate interview he did not approve of President Trump's big, beautiful bill with its massive tax cuts, a major break with the president and Republicans. I was disappointed to see the massive spending bill, frankly, which increases the budget deficit, not just decrease it, and undermines the work that the Doge team is doing, Musk said. Musk appeared reflective Tuesday as he returned to his natural habitat, far from the searing glare of Trump's Washington, again lording over this remote spit of Mars under the sweltering South Texas sun that SpaceX transformed into the world's most unlikely launch site. This is Elon Musk's true domain, a place removed from the controversy of the D.C. Beltway, where his attempts to reshape the federal bureaucracy ran into fierce institutional resistance and spawned lawsuits, backlash from voters and consumers, derision from Democrats, and the ignominious realization that politics can be just as difficult as rocket science, perhaps more so. In an interview overlooking the sprawling factory floor, he said, "I'm physically here. This is the focus, and especially around launch. Everything comes together at the moment of launch." Gone was the dark MAGA cap, the black blazer, the belligerence towards his perceived foes in Congress, and the press corps. Now, you should know, while this is happening, the president is a little more vocally than he had been, saying he disagrees with Elon Musk, and he's downplaying criticisms. This is from Bloomberg News. President Trump has this afternoon dismissed criticisms from Elon Musk, his billionaire donor and advisor, over the cost of his signature tax bill, telling reporters in the Oval Office that compromises were made to secure the necessary votes. Number one, you got to get the votes. We can't be cutting, we need to get the support. Musk's comments are that, quote, he was disappointed to see the massive spending bill, frankly, which increases the budget deficit. I think a bill can be big or it can be beautiful. I don't know if it can be both, Musk said. The White House says we're negotiating the bill. I'm not happy about certain aspects of it, but I'm thrilled by other aspects of it. That's the way to go. The president said ultimately the legislation was worth it because the level of tax cutting that we're going to be getting done. And that's one thing you do have to understand about Washington, D.C. As I have said, it's the process. Elon Musk is a CEO. So I was talking, I don't think he'd mind me saying so. I was talking to Brian Kemp, the governor of Georgia, who is not going to run for the Senate. One of the things that has come up repeatedly is that governors who are in the United States Senate are miserable. In fact, I don't know a governor in the U.S. Senate, Democrat or Republican, who likes being there. Because when you're a governor, when you're the CEO of a company, when you demand action, action gets taken. When you're the president of the United States, demand action, action gets taken. When you're in the United States Senate, you're one of 100 people in an organization that moves slower than a turtle. Elon Musk, as a CEO, can snap his finger and get things done within his companies. But when you're in Washington, D.C., and you've got to get something done, it takes the executive branch proposing something or Congress proposing something, and then it takes 435 members of the House and 100 members of the Senate to get together and figure out what to do. And there's a series of giving and taking. There's a series of compromises. Governors rarely have to compromise to the extent that it takes to get legislation done. Governors have executive power. CEOs have executive power. CEOs rarely have to go to their board of directors for day-to-day operations. In Congress, everything is a grind, and that's something Elon Musk missed. He can't snap his fingers to get things done in Washington because Washington is designed to be slow. Our founders were brilliant men who understood the inefficiencies of the legislative process were a good thing, slowing things down so only the most basic necessities could happen. Where our founders missed it was when, in the 1900s, we decided to directly elect the senators, and the senators were no longer held accountable to the needs of the states, but to the voters. And sometimes the needs of the voters and their states are not the same. We should get rid of direct election of senators, frankly, and go back to gubernatorial appointments with legislative consent. But we're probably not going to do that. Elon Musk is frustrated by the process. He should be. It's a frustrating process. But it's also the way the process is designed to work. And Musk should have known that going into it, that it's not efficient. It is slow. You know, I've always believed that your money should reflect your values. And in a world where so many banks are pushing agendas that don't align with common sense American values, I needed a bank that gets it, that shares my values, that respects freedom, faith, and hard work. That's why I switched to Old Glory Bank about 2 years ago. Old Glory Bank isn't just any bank. It's a bank that stands with you. It's built by patriots. It's for patriots. Old Glory Bank doesn't cancel people for their beliefs. There's no woke nonsense. Just honest, secure banking that respects your values. Whether it's your personal account, your business banking, whether it's a home loan or a CD, they got you covered. And they don't just talk the talk, they live it. They're founded by Ben Carson, Larry Elder, and other great Americans. Old Glory Bank is the bank that backs free speech, supports your Second Amendment rights, and actually believes in the Constitution. So if you're tired of banks that care more about their politics than your freedom, it's time to switch. Head over to oldglorybank.com/Eric. That's oldglorybank.com/Eric, E-R-I-C-K. Now, this is new, and all of you should go flood their website so they know you're actually listening. Instead of going to oldglorybank.com, finally, I've got my own landing page, oldglorybank.com/Eric. Go check them out today. Get an account for yourself. Get an account for your kid. Get a custodial account. Get a no-fee checking or savings account. oldglorybank.com/Eric. Go see for yourself why this is the right choice for freedom-loving Americans. You tell them that I'm sending you by going to oldglorybank.com/Eric. E-R-I-C-K. oldglorybank.com/Eric. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Terms and conditions apply.
You're at the intersection of politics, news, culture, and current events. It's the Erick Erickson Show.
251 Gold Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Better news on the west side inner loop, 285 northbound at Martin Luther King Jr. Drive, exit 9. That crash has cleared. All lanes are back open. If you're traveling 75 south through Kennesaw out of Ackworth, you're slow leaving or just south of Highway 92, right lane construction at Barrett Parkway. And at downtown, it's starting to fill in, 75-85 southbound from 17th Street to I-20. Traffic brought to you by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies, offering national LTE coverage for a limited time. Go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Listening to 95.5 WSB pays.
No way!
The WSB 5K a day bonus
That
blitz.
is awesome.
5 chances a day to win $5,000.
Download the WSB app. Your next chance to win is coming up at 5 p.m.
Oh my God.
From 95.5 WSB.
I love my home, and now I found a company that loves it as much as I do. TE Certified Electrical Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. It's Chris Chandler here. These folks have done work in my home, and boy, it didn't take long to realize I could trust their expertise, their attention to detail, and what I think you'll find, just as I did, an amazing level of service. TE Certified has more than 20,000 5-star reviews, and it's been serving Atlanta for decades.
TE Certified.
career changers, including veterans and active duty service members. Your transition starts here. Go from GI to IT in a matter of months. Become a certified cyber warrior with training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, offering IT pros great opportunities and a rewarding lifestyle while protecting our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. Deploy your career in IT today. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. SkillBridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify.
Are you paying too much for term life insurance? A man age 50 non-tobacco user can obtain $500,000 of coverage for as little as $110 per month. Level rate for 20 years. That's right, guaranteed level rate for 20 years. If you're a smoker, there are great rates available for you as well. Call Term Busters for a quote. 1-800-908-7636. You're probably paying more than you should. Call 1-800-908-7636. Remember, call Term Busters. 1-800-908-7636. Sample rate for preferred non-tobacco rate class. Exam required to qualify.
This is Scott Slade. Nothing takes the place of time when it comes to spotting problems with your health, especially cancer. The earlier, the better. Like me. My doctor saw one lab work number that led to a diagnosis early enough, so I still had options. Now, that's where virtual imaging comes in. They've got the safest CT imaging option in the Southeast with 98% accuracy. Virtual Imaging's LDCT body scan can be invaluable, giving you time and options for early treatment. They can detect tumors as early as precancerous virtually anywhere in your body, and aneurysms you may not even know are there. For a limited time, Virtual Imaging is offering their LDCT body scan for only $995 per scan. That's a $2,495 value. Now, appointments must be scheduled in May. There are a limited number of scans available at this price, so a few minimum requirements may apply. Don't put this off. I've done it. Call 770-678-SCAN. That's 770-678-SCAN. Or make an appointment by visiting their website at virtualimagingatl.com.
WSB Atlanta, WSB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
If someone causes you to lay your bike down, hiring proper representation is critical. Hey, it's Eric Von Hessler. Don't hire a lawyer because of slick commercials. Hire a local lawyer that specializes in motorcycle injury law. You can trust my friends at Steel Horse Law. Attorney George Stein is a rider and understands bikers' needs. Steel Horse Law has represented thousands of local riders and can maximize the value of your recovery. Schedule your free consultation at steelhorselaw.com.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Get the podcast, live stream, email, and social media links by texting Eric to 33777 now.
Hello there. Welcome back. It is Eric Erickson here. We got a lot percolating this afternoon as the president has been talking inside the Oval Office. He is again criticizing Vladimir Putin over the attacks on Ukraine, saying he's not happy. He has downplayed some of the possibility of sanctions. However, that does appear still on the agenda with his ramped-up criticisms against the Kremlin, and also says it's not my war. Now, it doesn't have to be his war, but as I said yesterday, Mr. President, it's kind of a no-brainer for me. One of the things that you could do is just sell the Europeans American weapons and then allow the Europeans to sell those weapons directly to Ukraine without having to get our permission. And so we're making money. We're not going into debt. We're selling our weapon systems. We're benefiting American weapons manufacturers. The Europeans are finally pulling their fair share on weapons purchases in NATO, and Ukraine gets enough weapons to battle the Russians. I mean, it's a win-win-win-win-win for us, and it actually undermines the Russians, which we need to do. We need to be undermining the Russians. The Russians and the Chinese are allied together. The North Koreans and Chinese are literally on the battlefield in Ukraine now. It's time for us to recognize reality. If there are spheres of influence, it's two. It's a Russian-Chinese axis versus the United States and the free world. It's not a us versus Russia versus China as much as you want. They are allied together. George W. Bush got played by Vladimir Putin. Bill Clinton got played by Vladimir Putin. Barack Obama got played by Vladimir Putin. Joe Biden got played by Vladimir Putin. Maybe Donald Trump can avoid getting played by Vladimir Putin. And the way you stop getting played by Vladimir Putin is you recognize he's evil. You recognize he doesn't want to be your friend. You recognize that he thinks he can outmaneuver you. And the way you don't allow him to outmaneuver you is you engage critically and help our allies and help Ukraine. Now, here at the end, I want you to know I'm still doing the Not Safe for Radio show. The Fox Theater in Atlanta, Georgia is going to host in their Egyptian ballroom. The Fox Theater has incredible opportunities for membership. They've got great plays. I'm taking my son, for example, to see John Mulaney later this year at the Fox. They have great plays. If you go to the Fox Theater's website in Atlanta, you can find out more. And we're going to be opening. We're working with the Fox to expand the seats in the room to be able to sell more tickets. So I want you to go check out the Fox Theater. Maybe you want to be a member at the Fox. I'm thinking about joining. The John Mulaney show is going to be good. But then also stand by for news, as we will very shortly be allocating more tickets in the room for the Not Safe for Radio show. It's July 12th. Doors open at 6 p.m. The show starts at 7 p.m. It's going to be a great night. I'm looking forward to you being there. Go check out the Fox Theater today for more details.
WSB consumer expert Clark Howard.
There's something I've talked about for years, and it's how when I'm going on a trip and I've booked my flight, I've booked my hotels, I've booked my car rental, if you're buying all those elements, how I reshop my hotels and my car rental before I go. Well, it works out for me most of the time that I get much lower prices on both reshopping closer to travel. And I'll give you an example that just happened to me just weeks ago. I had a car rental booked in Europe, and it was over $460 for the week. And then I reshopped the week that I was going, and my car rental dropped to $245 for a week. And I got a better car than I originally had booked. I'm Clark Howard.
News,
weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's news and talk.
At 3 o'clock, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top local story. Despite Georgia's reputation as a gun-friendly state, one of its long-running restrictions on who can carry a gun in public will remain on the books.
20-year-old Thomas Stevens wanted to carry a handgun for protection, but Georgia law says he had to be 21. So his attorney